there are some of them where I mean, you people could get away with it without even honestly listening to the dialogue because there's one that's like literally about like a donkey's life, and it's like there's barely any dialogue in it, so you could actually like it. It's very limited reading, and then there's another one which is like a war film, so a lot of people just watch it visually. But yeah,
So
I'm still not going to though.
we are live. So many topics today. The first one will be Invincible second season. The second one will be the Fabelmans. The third one will be the Umbrella Academy third season. The fourth one will be Elvis. And lastly, there was some coverage you wanted to get around it. What's the
Yeah.
last topic?
I'll explain it afterwards, but yeah. So I guess the Avatar stuff will move to like another because Chillmonger couldn't show up today.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
maybe we will add Avatar 2, but maybe next week. I will actually rewatch the first
Yeah,
one.
I mean
So
it's fine. We've already seen each, so it's fine. We can just like
yeah,
add it whenever Chillmonger's available. I mean,
but I think we would need to like move the time because that's the time he usually sleep. I think. I don't know if he can
yeah.
move. If we can move the time, we will see. We will see. So
I mean, I've been waking up pretty early as of late these days, so I mean, I could, but yeah,
what I'm saying here is we need to not really rely on him, even if he's great and all. It's just a bit harder to get
yeah.
around three
Fair
people's
enough.
schedule. So yeah, how was your day, man?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I had to. I got some stuff figured out with a car I bought, and okay, these fucking idiots at the car dealership. This is what they do with every person, and especially tourists here in this country. They try to scam you for you out of your money. Or they try to make up issues, wrong with your car. Because I wanted to get everything checked over in the car to make sure everything was running properly. Because I bought it for surprisingly super cheap. It's a really nice red car, so I'm like, okay, well, I should double check this because I have like 30 days, and if there's something wrong, I can return it. From the because it's a used car, got from somebody, and so that's what that dealership said. Then I took it to another dealership, and who's an American, and he looked over and he was like, "Oh no, everything is absolutely perfect. There's no damage. You can like keep this thing forever. Honestly, if you take care of it properly." So yeah, I dodged a bullet there. I almost got scammed.
That's good. You dodged the bullet. That's what we want to hear. Scam or trash. Um,
Yeah,
so
let's dodge bullets on like XX Tentacion.
so that's good to know you dodged it. So Invincible second season teaser. What did you think of it?
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I saw, yeah, it was pretty. It did get me excited. Again, nothing. Again, it is just a teaser, but again, I mean, it showed us like, yeah, what kind of like where we like left off from us the end of season one anyway, like those clips, and yeah, showed us a bit more and some animation stuff, and yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. Now I still think season two and season three were overall still great of the boys, but in comparison to season one, it was a step down. So I hope Invincible stays on that amazing, like masterful tier, because that for me, because yeah, I really love that show. On that. I mean, what about you?
Man, season two, I'm excited about it, but what I really want is something different. What I mean by there is, I don't want another Doomsday scenario, Umbrella Academy, but Yeah, season one was great. I really liked it a lot. I think I gave like 8.5 to this first season of Invincible. I do think, or I should say, I do hope it can tap this or beat it, you know. If it's equal, I'm also fine with it. But yeah, I really hope we will get more street based stuff and maybe some interesting villain all about the main character trying to tear him apart, like the kind of trope vengeance for like the villain into a vengeance trip, you know. That's the kind of stuff that could be interesting to change things up instead of just keeping the the stakes really high. I'm not a fan of things that keep getting high stakes because they feel like they need to only do high stakes, if you know what I mean. So yeah, um, that
Oh
is
shit! Oops, my mic was muted for some reason. Yeah, but no, I completely agree with you.
that teaser was still very interesting. I think it was still funny, and it just letting us know that it will be out by the end of 2023, and maybe they will dive more deep into space stuff. that that may be the reason why they told us is it how Earth works and stuff. And if they dive deep into space stuff, that could be very interesting because I do think the March plotline in the first season was really good. I liked a lot March. So or Mars. 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 So what do you expect from season 2? Even if we just got a teaser.
Uh, honestly, I don't want to like with this type of show. Honestly, I really like because I think we like we know like some parts of like the main storyline that are gonna like continue and happen, and then maybe Omni Man returns and I don't know if there's yeah, I believe there's a comic adaptation of this that it's based off of. I haven't read it yet. I think there is a possibility he in the future he goes on a redemption arc. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's what fan theories suggest. But but yeah, I mean, with this show though, outside of that though, I really like in season one they went through a lot of different like side stories and everything, and kind of went like with this flow, and it worked really well, and it just happens like not so many twists and turns with like stories that you don't expect. So because of that, I honestly don't have any like precise expectations for like what I want. I rather just go in a bit blind. But the main thing though is I am looking forward to. There was one cliffhanger that you might have forgotten that they left off of one of the episodes where he brought back, the people from the moon because the one guy was infected.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that?
that's actually right.
Yes.
So
So
I
I'm excited for an episode of that.
I just hope this plot won't take over the entire season and tell us, look, new Doomsday is happening. But that could be an interesting plot, like one of the mini storyline. I forgot how many episode they ordered, but if they have enough episode, what could be interesting is
They
having
or-
like
they ordered like around like over 20. They definitely ordered a
what
lot.
could be great is like you create two story arc or maybe three if you're able to have a great pacing. Uh, but yeah, two or three different storyline that could mix up things instead of just having one plot that lasts 20 episode. Like I think one plot that lasts 20 episode was overdone, and it feels like it's an old format when TV show used to air that many episodes. But like as of today in 2023, I feel like your show should either be like around 13 to 15 episode, or if you got 20, like make sure you don't only stretch on one long storyline because it's really hard to make it entertaining and good without filling fillers for like a few episodes in these 20, you know? That's just how I feel. I may be wrong on that. Maybe I've seen too many CW show you don't really like, but that's how I see it. I think it used to be great having a lot of episodes, but that kind of style is kind of dated, if I can call it that way. And because it's dated, I feel like if you the more episode you got, the more storyline you need to make, and don't really rush through them, but like you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I'm hoping for, and yeah, I think it can be good if they do it properly. They clearly have the
Yeah.
firepower to pull that one off with the first season.
Yep,
So,
I agree. You want to know something funny though about the teaser?
what?
Now I can't find the exact tweet of it, but yeah, people were discussing this on Twitter. It was a funny reveal. Here, I'll send a link of this. So this people found out that the animator of the teaser for season 2 is a porn animator.
Wow! Wow!
Well, yeah, didn't have that on my bingo card. Okay. Yeah, it's just a fun fact there.
My, okay. I see. Maybe we will have,
Yeah, you can see it in his bio.
maybe we will have rated M stuff. TVMA. As long as it doesn't take away anything from the story, I'm fine with it. Uh, I really think like there's a place for everything, and just do your story properly. And I don't care about the
And
format, you
yeah, I
know.
don't really care. I just found that pretty funny.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
people are like making jokes, like, yeah, you'd be surprised. You know, the people who animate porn are like some of the most talented people.
Wow.
Like,
So,
okay,
any closing thoughts about that teaser?
yeah, no, that's about it. Yeah, just a
Okay.
little tidbit there of
S-
news. So yeah.
So we shall move to the Fabelmans. What did you think of that movie?
Yeah, I'll be honest. So this is a film that's has been getting a lot of high ratings and praise. It is like a possible contender to maybe win Best Picture. I don't see it happening though. I think there's mainly two. I think this will win probably Best Director though, which I wouldn't agree with, but I think so just because of this being a personal story and what he did, and also like the workload and the runtime and like the different sets and locations and everything and whatnot, and like remembering the story and everything. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of it as other people were though. But I still thought it was very good for the most part. I'll be honest though, like there were a lot of elements that I just thought were like, I don't know if like my tastes for like Steven Spielberg films have just changed now, and with even finding some stuff in like his best films like Saving Private Ryan to be a little over the top or cheesy, or he's just makes worse films nowadays. But yeah, there's just a lot of melodramatic stuff and a lot of stuff that tries to be like emotional that just doesn't quite work for me personally, like doesn't execute it as well as it would with like other films that have come out yearly for me nowadays. And it feels a little like overproduced, like this is supposed to be like taking place in in like the 650s or what 40s 50s
50s.
60s whatnot. And I would have liked it, just like how he showed like certain filmmaking, film creating, stuff in scenes, as a child, which I really enjoy. That was one of my favorite parts. Well, those were my favorite parts of like the films. Just him, making all those movies and stuff and edit it together and everything, and showing flashes of the films he would make later on, like Saving Private Ryan, with war films. Which, yeah, again, I don't know how familiar you are with Steven Spielberg, but yeah, he makes a lot of most famous stuff like E.T. and stuff. And yeah,
I've
but
seen a few of his movies, but I don't keep names in mind, so I cannot really tell you which movies
yeah,
from him. But
yeah.
I'm sure
But yeah, he's
I've
basically like
seen
for
many
mainstream
movies.
directors, so he is basically like one of the most famous for mainstream directors ever, and has done like almost every genre. So yeah, but so yeah, I mean that was my favorite. But when it comes to like the film and visual portion and aspect of it, though, like I would have liked more like creativity there. Like it just all feels overproduced, like too new to I would like more like creativity, like shown more like quality of like a 50s thing in the shots
Yeah,
during that era or whatnot, kind of like what they did with Mank, which we'll watch eventually when we do a David Fincher marathon. But uh yeah, and the performances, yeah, Paul Dano and Michelle Williams did a great job. The kid actor did a great job. Seth Rogen was all right, I guess. Judd Hirsch was great, in the small role he had, even if it was only like 3 minutes of screen time, which makes what I'm going to show you later pretty surprising with how little screen time he had, and so on. A very good film overall, but for me, yeah, just a little. I don't know. It's just didn't hit. Uh, you know, just for me personally. But yeah, I mean, what did you think about it?
I liked the movie a lot, and this is funny because you mentioned Paul Dano, and I was like, I knew I've seen that guy somewhere, but I can't remember where. Now you say Paul Dano, I'm like, oh, that's the Riddler.
Yeah,
I I.
yeah,
I think I've seen him in other movies before the Batman,
yeah.
or
He's been in a lot of films. Like he was also in 12 Years a Slave. Did you see that? Or
nope.
well, let's actually look up some of the stuff he done. Yeah, I really love him as an actor. Yeah,
I think he
and
did great
yes,
job. He did great job
yes,
because he feels
yeah. He
like
was
a
in
good.
Prisoners. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was the like mentally
Oh,
handicapped
you're
guy
damn
in
right.
Prisoners.
You're right. I
Yeah,
forgot about that. Man, that guy has range. He
yeah, he
feels.
does.
He feels like that during that movie. He felt like he loving father, and this is very appreciated because it's rare we see that kind of stuff on movies in general, and especially in 2022 because we are much more into like nuclear stuff and special family, and to see traditional family like that and to see like a loving father in a traditional family, I think it's unique, and
Yeah.
I really liked that movie overall. I do think it was a great movie. um
It
I
is a little sad his parents didn't get to see it. His mother, I know, yeah, she died at 97 years old in 2017,
Wow.
and his father died at 103 years old in 2020 while he was writing it.
Wow.
Yeah, he was writing it during the pandemic after his father died, and realizing like I don't know if I'll be around for much longer. Honestly, I need to write this story, get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I will start off with my issues. The pacing, I think, especially at the start of the movie, I feel like the tornado scene wasn't really needed, but there are other elements, like in parts of the movie, I feel like they were a bit too much because they were not really needed. But the tornado is like the biggest example of my pacing issue because the only
yeah,
purpose of that scene was to tell us like how the mother was thinking. But later on in the movie, they repeat that. So I'm like, I already know it from the tornado. Why
Yeah.
you feel the need to repeat that
Yeah,
kind of?
like that's another thing I have. It's the issue I had with like Joker, the film, which I don't know if you've seen. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
you
liked
have,
it a
but
lot.
yeah, which is where they do something and then you're like as the audience, okay, so I understood that, but then they like scream it out loud for you and they treat the audience like idiots, and that's one thing the film kind of does here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the tornado scene. I guess it's because again, it's pretty much all from his life. So I guess that thing happened, and I guess it's just to show, like her mental state in that, and a lot of things. I guess I don't know.
So the second issue I had too much musical parts. I'm not really into musicals. Now, some movies I can give a pass if it's a movie like Elvis. That doesn't bother me as much because the idea of Elvis is he is a singer, he is a rock star. So uh, that I'm fine with musical in that kind of approach in a movie. But the Fableman, I didn't feel like we needed characters to sing and do dance and stuff. I really wasn't a fan of that. Um, my next issue. Now this one it's debatable, but I will still point that one out. Plot convenience when the main character met the cheater in the staircase. It's very convenient that he just bumped into them. Like, the counter argument would be maybe he was following the guy because he was scared. But even there, my counter argument doesn't really work because when you're scared, you don't really follow someone. So I still feel like there's a plot convenience there that you just end up catching the cheater in the staircase. What did you think of that?
Yeah, it was a little cliche. Again, there are cliche elements of this. Again, like back maybe when I was like younger, not like watching as many films that I do nowadays. Like maybe I would be more forgiving with these cliches or melodramatic feeling stuff, and like with the trying to play with your emotions. But again, like it's just in comparison to other stuff now and that I like, it's just again just feels too cliche, cheesy, and overproduced in my opinion. Again, less doesn't like if it feels like a bit raw, which I don't think this does, but
So yeah, that's it for my issues. Do you have any issues you'd like to share before I move on um, with other stuff?
I
All right.
mean the issues are pretty much like said already, and again, it's like I don't have like too many like again, I don't have like too many like flaws. It's just yeah, I just more so like I think it's a little cheesy of a film at points, and yeah, I don't think it's like as amazing as other people do with like with this award season and stuff. Out of and especially out of other Steven Spielberg films. But yeah, I mean, I still really enjoyed it overall. Though there was one other thing though before moving on. There was one other scene. Oh yeah, right. Just a quick heads up. Did you know? Now, did you know who was playing the filmmaker at the end?
Nope. What's that?
It was David Lynch.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you're familiar with David Lynch, but
I've
yeah,
heard the
another famous
name.
filmmaker.
I think we mentioned him before. Maybe I have
He does a
seen
lot
him.
of thriller, horror stuff, like Eraserhead and stuff. A lot of experimental stuff. Pretty, influential.
Oh,
And neighbors are arguing.
that's interesting. So, I think that's it for my issues. So now let's move on why I enjoy the movie and why you enjoy the movie. Or, yeah, so I think the family was very likable. Everyone was very interesting. And the focus was really on the son, which is normally is the main character. The mother and the father as well. I feel like the sisters, they were just there to be there. They were maybe not like as needed as other characters, but I still enjoyed the sisters. But I still feel like the sisters are interesting despite having a quite small role. Um, so yeah, very likable family. Um, the passion for movie making the son has, the main character, was really good. It made sense and it was interesting, and we see that built up in the first part of the movie. Even if it's the weakest part, I still think most of it matter outside of the tornado stuff. Uh, the father and son scenes are heartfelt. I really like these scenes. It really felt like the father was a father, you know, and I think Paul Dano nailed the role there. Um,
Yeah, especially the end in there, like that was really.
yeah, with the panic attack, we are not quite there
Yeah,
yet,
yeah, that
but
like that was one of the most emotional scenes in the whole film for me. You know,
yeah,
with him near the
I
very end there. Yeah,
I 100% agree, and I also enjoy the fact that the main character is more about showing than speaking. The perfect example that showcased this is when he revealed to his mother he knows his mother is cheating. That was impactful for me. I really liked that scene a lot. That's probably like in my top three scenes of the movie. I don't know where exactly. Maybe it's second or third, but it's up there. And I think it's rare in modern movie that they do that kind of stuff. Like people need to tell their feeling. They need to tell people. But here he just showed his mother he knew, and I really enjoyed that. What did you think of that scene?
yeah, I really enjoyed that. Oh, so what did you think of? Just curious to know. What did you think of Seth Rogen's character? Would you prefer if he does more stuff like this?
I actually, I've heard the name a lot, but I cannot tell which character he was.
He was well again like the cousin or whatever.
He was what?
Again, the guy with Paul Dano's wife.
He's the basically the okay, I see. He's like the quote
He's a
uncle.
comedian type actor. Usually, he's in a lot of stuff like Pineapple Express and yeah,
I
yeah, it's like a 50-50, like public, look with him as an actor. I personally enjoy him for the most part, but yeah, and he also produces a lot of stuff. He produced The Boys and he produced Invincible, and he's the voice actor for the red guy in the lounge with the main character in the teaser of
yeah
season 2, I believe, or
yeah.
like at the end of season 1, on the planet.
So I do think that character at first he wasn't that great. I think he was one of the weakest part of the movie, but by the end when he leaves, I think it left an impact because he gave a gift and he really felt like he was loving a lot the main character. Uh, he sees himself as some kind of father or something, and I did like that aspect of that character. But outside of his goodbye gift, I didn't really care about that character. Um, I just feel like he was a plot device for most of the time before that. It was just a point of conflict for the parents, which is fine. Sometimes you need that in drama, but yeah, I do think overall he served his purpose by the end. Uh, and yeah, anything else you'd like to add about Joe Rogan? Apparently, it's Joe Rogan. I
No,
didn't know.
yeah, Joe Rogan.
I think another interesting character was the uncle, but I feel like the uncle was linked to the more filler part of the movie because I don't really feel like
Yeah.
it was needed in the movie. The uncle, the old guy.
His purpose was to because of what he said and everything, he was basically the cause for him, looking at the footage and that all unraveling throughout the film with their marriage. That was the cause of it, him showing up and telling the main character that.
Yeah, maybe it was actually more important, but I also
Yeah,
like the
and I
fact.
mean, he did leave an impact with his performance. I mean, did you
Yeah, I will
like it?
admit he did great job with the material. I just feel like that part was a bit weaker in the movie. Uh, but regardless, I think what made this movie also very interesting is after the main character learned about his mother cheating, that changed him at his core because his attitude changed toward his mother, and furthermore, he decided he'd stop doing movies because he sees movies as some kind of tool of destruction, and it's just great. That was very interesting to see. Like you see him being passionate about it for like an hour ish, and then for another hour he is no more doing that passion because of that really bad experience he had. I think that was a very good part of the movie, and I also feel like this movie was very personal. The Steven Spielberg probably knew people with that kind of story, or he experienced bits of it, because I really felt the person behind the writing. But maybe I'm wrong, and I overpraised the movie a little bit, but I feel like that movie is very personal for the people who made it.
Well, yes. Again, it's his whole childhood growing up and becoming a filmmaker.
Yeah. So I've touched it upon it, but the emotional scene between the mother and the son after the reveal he knows about uh, his mother cheating, that was a great scene. Uh, Later on, um, the house with the girl was very very funny when she was praying and they kissed, and that was like my I was bursting out of laugh. I think that was a very funny scene, and that was a very interesting build up for a relationship between both character, and it felt real because I think in that time, like in 1950-ish, it was all about religion based on a lot of media I've seen. And even here in Quebec, uh, we had a lot of religion. Religion actually had a bigger hold on us in Quebec than elsewhere because we took a little bit more years than you in the USA to like change. I think our change started like 80, 90s, and your change probably started around the 70s. I think this is how it went. Uh, so it felt interesting, and usually I don't like storylines about bully, all about racism, but here I will get behind that only because it reflects how it was back in the day, and it felt real. So, like, I think that part of the movie was interesting. These bigot being like the cliche bully, but what they do later on with these cliche bully was a bit more interesting, and how the main character reacts to these bully is also really good. He doesn't hold grudges, and I think that's why that kind of storyline with the bully didn't bother me as much because I think it was well used for once. A bully storyline well used. That sounds weird, right? So, the dinner scene,
Yeah,
um,
sorry, my fucking neighbors
yeah.
yelling here.
So,
I
what
don't even know what they're just like. Don't fuck with me. I'm just please shut up.
what did you
So I don't know
think?
what you were arguing about. But yeah,
What
the dinner scene, yeah, that
the
was pretty good.
what did you think of the bullies and that storyline?
Again, there were parts of it that were a little cliche, but um, there were elements I really liked, and again, by the end of it, and with that film he made and everything, and with the one guy, yeah, I really liked that. Yeah,
The
that was honestly,
divorce,
yeah,
the divorce
yeah,
scene was impactful, I think, and it made sense and it was good.
yeah.
Um, After that, we had the great movie showing where the main character doesn't uh, make the bad guys look bad. He did his best to represent what was going on, and the outcome of it being one of them being pissed at him and the other one defending him, and them having that argument in the locker, that was great. I think
Yeah, I saw. I love that. I love that scene. Oh, sorry, with that line. No, yeah, don't worry. I won't. I won't ever show anybody. I mean, unless I make a movie about it, which will never happen.
that was I think that was the second best scene in the movie.
Breaking the fourth wall right there.
I think that was the second best uh, movie scene in the movie. I also liked how the bully got growth throughout the movie, and the main character as well. He got a lot of growth. He went from wanting this to no more wanting it and wanting it again. It was very interesting. I liked a lot how they were sharing a joint. Like things got patched up, and I also liked the panic attack a lot. I think that's hands down my favorite scene in the movie. The panic attack of the main character and his father coming at him and like trying his best to help him out and telling the viewer and his son he knew he was cheated on. I think that was great because that tells us he's not stupid, and that made the movie interesting. The ending was also really good with the main character living his dream. So, what would be your grade out of 10? Any grade out of 10?
Sorry. Again, fucking neighbors. Yeah, I'll give it a round of 7.5.
And I will give a 9 out of 10. I liked it a lot. That was a great movie. Um, so, yeah, any closing thoughts before we move on with the next topic?
No, that's about it. But yeah, again, really enjoyed it. Yeah, again, just not my cup of tea quite when it comes to dramas nowadays. I mean, can be just a little different changes here and there, but yeah, there was a film we'll be watching, later on that part of this award thing, watching all the films in it that will highlight more of like what I'm kind of into when it comes to dramatic stories like this. I mean, there were others I already did so, but yeah. But anyway, let's move on. So I guess it's the Umbrella Academy, you said, or
Yep. So that's Umbrella Academy third season. Uh, would you like to start to share your thoughts on that third season?
yeah, yeah. Well, didn't quite reach my So yeah, I knew it wouldn't be as great still as season one was going into it. I wanted at least somewhat of improvement from like a 6 out of 10 to at least maybe like a 6.5, maybe. And it ended up still being all right or solid, but yeah, it's kind of the same as season two, if not a little worse. There was definitely a lot of issues I had with it and stuff that kind of made me roll my eyes, like getting kind of like tired of some stuff they're doing and repeating some things, and I'm just like, you had so much potential to be, something really special, and now you're just like you're kind of like Superman and Lois now, which is still good, but not not excellent as you could have been. But whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. I really all I have to really say is just like that black hole shit just fucked me. Okay. Yeah. I will say though, what did you think on the yeah the having the that transgender flop with the character? Well,
I
how do you think
think
that was done?
I think at first it was done great, but then it started to bother me a lot when Luther was like, "Do we need to throw a party or something?" And when people keep reminding the audience, "Look, he is not a boy. Look, he is not a man," and I'm like, when you first introduced that, you did it right. Why you get to mess that one up later by just keep reminding the viewer is trends? You don't need to. You want to normalize that? Normalize it in your writing and in your character interaction. And I may sound not sensitive to that. I have my own experience with that. I have a cousin that wants to transition from woman to man, and as a family, we support the best we can, and we like that man in our family, and we don't treat him differently just because he feels different.
Yeah.
I don't know if our approach is wrong, but I think he feel accepted and appreciated, and
Yes.
this is
100%.
what this is what we try to do. And I think at moments we get that kind of stuff in the show, but at other moments I feel like they want to make that a big deal, and it goes against the idea to normalize it. But hey, this is Hollywood, and these people like to make big deal out of small stuff.
So
So
I guess when the people said that, they said that like this is how you do it properly if you're going to in a show. I guess it's because they said that when it first happened and not like later on in the show. But I mean, it was still done. Yeah, it was still done good. But yeah, they ruined it from being great. With what doing all that stuff. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I hate when
it,
uh,
when you want to
people do that
normalize
with stuff.
something, deal with that like you would deal with any other team or
Yeah,
character or an exchange between two characters. Like episode 3
yeah,
was really dragged down for me by a lot, like, because of that. And episode 2 was when we had that reveal, and that was a quite good episode. That was one of the best episodes that season. So it's not all they gave us this; it's the follow up to it. My true issue. Um, Now, uh, would you like to add more to this part? I think I've said enough with my experience and how the show treat with.
yeah. Well, no,
Uh,
I completely agree with you. Like again, I don't know if I gave this comparison before, but again, like just as another example, I'm a wrestling fan, and again in WWE, which is just a shit show and dead now because they can never do anything right. Yeah, they so when they pushed the female division and again did all booked them in all the same match stipulations and did all the same stuff as the male division and making it a big thing that people are finally happy about, like yes finally, and showing all this good talent. They couldn't have just done that and then leave it be, let them do that thing. They had to literally like every fucking day for every fucking month of every year keep shoving in your face. Oh, women's revolution, first time ever. Oh yes, sir, strong women. I was like, yeah, this sums up what I fucking hate, and yeah, and it's something that I'm sure Joker. That this is why Joker's corner hates his own LGBTQ community as a gay married man because of this shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think
And you,
we got the sensitive out of the way. Now, a big issue for me this season. Well, actually, before I speak with the overall season, I must speak about the worst episode we had in the entire show, for me at least. And that was the first episode. That was a freaking rough episode for me.
oh yeah.
Oh my, I was rolling my eyes. The two bigots in the restaurant. I was rolling my eyes. I was like, wow, what is going on? What happened to the show? Why do I need to watch that crap there? I don't need to see that. Like, is it like still in the 60s? No, it was present day apparently, allegedly, you know. So
Well, I mean, yeah, like yeah, there's still, again, there's still bigots and people who do this stuff, but I mean, and again, a lot of people say, well, it's more, subtle, and then other people be like, yeah, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people who do it just like openly, like, or do that shit like it's the '60s still. I don't know, but either way, the way they executed it though, specifically just that specific scene and execution was unrealistic, and it just, even if it wasn't unrealistic, it was just horribly executed and horribly done anyway. It was just cringe.
yeah, I was rolling my eyes. Now, followed by that, another Doomsday tease. This comes into
Ugh.
play with the biggest issue with that season. Now, another issue I had, the dance cringe instead of the fist fight. Now, okay, I could get it at some extent. They wanted to showcase something original, but I still rolled my eye. I still was like, why do you make someone imagine that? You know, like, what's the point of that? I was really bothered by that. At least that scene was followed by a funny action sequence. I did like the action sequence. I think the dance crap was really bad, but after the dance, it was fine. Uh, Diego was very good, and yeah, I think the third season is hands down the weakest season so far, and by a lot. Uh, for many reasons I will get into a bit later. But what did you think of the dance?
Uh, didn't really care. Uh,
So you didn't really care. So
yeah, I
yeah,
didn't really care.
that
I was just
episode
indifferent.
that episode for me was a 6 out of 10, and for me it's mediocre. 6 is mediocre. It's not good.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, for me, a 4 is mediocre, but I'm going a step further than that. It's a 3.5.
okay, so we are so
Yeah.
far. We are so close in terms of.
Yeah, I mean, maybe on another date I'll change my mind and say 4, like it's watchable, but like I don't know, like with the amount of bullshit in that and shit that like we specifically wanted them not to do, and not just us wanting shit like they shouldn't have done, and then they do. It's like, and then just the horrible execution, like holy fuck. And now my neighbors are slamming doors. What the fuck is going on?
So for me, a 4 out of 10 is awful, and a 3 is like unwatchable, and a 2, man, it's an abomination. So yeah, like this episode was really weak, and that was probably the worst episode I could remember in the entire show so far. I wanted to clear the air with this, and since I mentioned the weakest, I will mention the strongest one. I do think the seventh episode was the best one this season, and that was the only episode I gave a 10 out of 10. Uh, Now, maybe looking back to that season, I may change my mind, but episode 7 was clearly the best one. Um, That was the episode where I think, um, based on what I see, is it the? I think it's the episode where Klaus was getting trained to master his ability to come back to life. Or maybe I'm wrong and it's like, I know it's not that far because I mentioned Klaus in that episode. Um, I can't remember exactly why I like that episode so much. But on my notes, it just says that it was the best one. Do you remember at all the seventh episode?
The seventh episode, I believe I remember. Um,
Which one was it?
I'm just trying to remember. Well, I'm just trying to make sure I don't have it like mixed up with episode seven. I mean, sorry, six. God, I'm fucking hot. Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was actually episode 8 that Klaus
Yeah,
and
actually, I don't really
Father.
remember episode seven. Sorry,
Oh,
actually.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was
no,
thinking of six.
yeah. But what did you think of Klaus this season?
Um, well, I thought he was better than season two at least, but that wasn't saying much. But still think they could have done more. But yeah, again, kind of sad they just kind of left him there. But again, they kind of did the same with like three other characters. They've kind of not utilized it. Like this is like anti fucking Stargirl, where in season three they utilize each character well into the maximum in their runtime. While this, it's like half of them they utilize well enough, and then the other half they kind of like leave and have the odd scene here and there. But yeah, I mean, I liked it more in this season, but yeah, it's still not a season as good as season one. No.
Yeah, now Klaus, I'm divided about him. I do like a lot of things he had, but it doesn't mean that much because I feel like most of the character they just gave up on them. Luther, outside of the love relationship, didn't got that much. Like at some point, he's divided between the Sparrow and the Umbrella, but even there, it's not that big. And Luther is also one of my issues with that season. The whole wedding and stuff. I don't care about relationship, and I just feel like that relationship dragged down the show because it led to many filler scenes and filler episode. Um, Even if they made sense, even if they are a cute
Well,
couple and all.
well, they just didn't do anything interesting with it. It was just
Yeah,
boring.
yeah, exactly. I just feel like even if the couple made sense, they just eat away screen time for the sake of it. And this is when couple bother me a lot. It gave me like Arrow season 4 vibes. And Arrow season 4, like, it's really hard to find someone that liked that season because the emphasis on that season wasn't the superhero stuff. It was the freaking wedding and the divorce of Oliver and his wife. That was like peak soap opera drama crap. And even if there were not that much conflict in the couple itself, it gave me that kind of vibe. Like being like all about that relationship instead of the other plot. And even there, the other plot is not that interesting. It's another Doomsday for the third time, you know? And I'm like, really? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can't believe that aspect of the show is actually going to make me now compliment. Whatever. Fuck. Yeah, listen. I might not be the biggest fan of the Flash TV show. I think it's kind of below average. But yes, they did a better job with that aspect in this show, and that's sad.
The
They
plot
did
each
light years better job.
the plot each season kinda change. The first three seasons are the most similar from each other because they all involved a speedster as a main villain. But even there, the speedster goal were a bit different. The first one wanted to go back home. The second one wanted to be the best, the fastest, the strongest. So it's a bit different. And the second one was a monster, literally, and that what made that season so good. The third one was basically what if Barry was broken, and it was interesting. But you see, they still had different plot. Like season three was really centered around Barry and freaking Iris, that worst character ever made. She started off great, but she ended up like being really trash after that. Um, so yeah,
Oh yeah. Let's not talk about later on. Just let's that
yeah,
yeah that was a disaster. But just how it started though, in comparison to like then all 3 seasons of them trying with that in Umbrella Academy, it's like you're really gonna make me defend the Flash now. A show I consider mediocre, and that I don't even really care about that aspect of it because I'm not a fan of that character.
and
But oh my god.
let's pick let's pick another first three season, for example. Supergirl, a show that wasn't great at all, and I've seen all 6 seasons recently, so I know what I'm talking about. They still had kind of different plot. Some of the plot come back, but not each season. Like the first season was all about people that want to make Earth Krypton, and this is a kind of trope in the Superman genre. And these villains were kind of shit, but one of the two was family for Supergirl, so that link was interesting to explore. And I think they were able to do it properly in Supergirl. Well, yes, they did something well, even if that show is that season was really bad. Then the second season we had racist people as villain. Now you may laugh, but that's a fact. They were bigoted toward Alien, but they were not the only villain in that season. We also had in the back half as the second plot other villain that are a bit like um, the first one that wanted to make Krypton again, but instead they wanted to enslave humans. So even there, like the overall plot of Supergirl's second season was still a bit different, even if goals were similar. They were still executed in different ways. And then when you come back to the third season, we just get someone out for justice at any means, and she was killing like everyone, like police, crooks, everyone, and the main character needs to stop that, and they wanted to like destroy Earth, basically the villain. So it was very different. They were able to change stuff around, and Supergirl wasn't that great. Uh, Another example of a not that great TV show, Legends of Tomorrow. Uh, they still like recycled a bit of stuff as the seasons went on, but the first 3 seasons were not all about the same thing. Season 1 was all about saving a family. Season 2 was all about finding relics to rewrite reality. Season 3 was all about unleashing a demon. So the goal and the stuff in the different seasons were different. But no, with Umbrella Academy, we need to deal with Three Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lovely.
it's sad because I think in season 1 at least, they had the firepower to deal with that kind of plot and making it interesting. But that was the charm of the first season. And the writer just got lazy and they thought that we would like enough the characters to like the show, but season 3 is just a shell of what it was in the first season. And even Diego was hands down my favorite part of the first 2 seasons. And this season Diego was just fine, I guess. Him becoming a father of a son that wasn't even his was interesting, but nothing more. I don't feel like that character changed a lot since season 2, and this is sad. Now number 5,
Well,
I will.
have there really been many character changes like throughout this show? There really hasn't.
Well, in the first two seasons, we had some character were flipped on your head, like Luther wanting to be a hero in season one, but no more wanting that in season two was good because he had growth and he was like a mirror, a reflection of five or no Diego in the first season. Diego in the first season didn't want to be a superhero, but in season two he wanted to be one. So they were able to flip on your head some of the characters. And this time around, 5, for once, he's about to retire, which was a good plot, but then he's dragged on back into it because the show needs him. And I'm like, man, you somewhat do something different for 5, and then you revert him to what he was in season 2 and 1. And Allison turning into a villain this season, I feel like it could have been done better. I I think I gave up on Allison with season 2. I was like, she was fine in season 1, but she has nothing to do outside of activism in season 2. So Allison, yeah, that's the rumor girl Allison. So I really gave up on her at some point. Um, Now, as of the Sparrow Academy, I think the best one was Ben. It was actually the only good one. Because I think Marcus, number one, their number one, I think that was their number one. Their number one wasn't that great. I didn't like that one. Now, as of Victor now, Victor, oh my. Okay. Outside of the reveal, I feel like that character hasn't changed. He didn't change
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. I don't know. So I don't really. Again, this is why I feel like all the characters almost. Again, holy fuck! Just if it wasn't for 5, holy fuck! Like he's still my favorite character, and he
Me too.
still was probably like the best part of this season as well.
Number 5 carried the show this season on his shoulders.
He's the best part of every season, and this is
Yeah.
just yeah,
Well, in season 1, I could argue with you because I liked Diego a lot in season
yeah,
1.
yeah. I was about to say yeah, you did like Diego, but
But I will agree with you. 5 was the best part of every season. And I will admit this time around, White Out the Mother, I was glad. I hated the guts out of the mother, you know it. Uh, and Layla, the daughter, that was kind of bad in season 2. She was fine this season. She wasn't great, but I feel like she was just played around for comic relief. And it's sad when your character is reduced to that. Um, Now, I will admit, it was funny. Uh, was it the funniest season? I don't think so. I think season 2 and season 1 were funnier overall. The humor and the tone was much better, I think, in season 1 and 2. I I just struggle a lot with this season. Now, I think I will move on to the father. Um, I think they did the father dirty, Argreave dirty, in the final episode. They did him so dirty because I feel like he had some kind of growth and he was changing throughout the season. But the final episode just did character assassination to give the kids a villain, and when this happens, that bothers me so much. I was like, he was getting at a point where I like that character, and now they will just turn him into someone that betrays and kill people for no really good reason anymore because bad father. Okay, whatever. Um, yeah, I think they really ruined that character for me with the last episode. Um, Overall, I think that season was much weaker. Now, what did you think of the father?
Yeah, he said that they thought they screwed him over.
Yeah, they ruined him. Like
Yeah, I would have to agree that that was.
they were trying to make you believe he was changing, but no, because he is a terrible human being. He cannot change, and that's like
It,
okay, whatever. Um, the other plots, the subplot of revenge with Arlen and stuff. I think Arlen was very likable. I barely mentioned him, but I think he was very likable. I just didn't really enjoyed what was going on there because it was another way where Victor was lying to everyone to save someone, and that someone killed their parents. And yeah, I think the actor and the character were fine, but that was the great drama between Allison and Victor, and that drama between them, I didn't like it at all. That was clearly a mistake. Um, Now, overall, this season, uh, one of my big issues, I felt like there were too many episodes. They were just doing circle around. No, like the pacing overall of most episode is fine, but that's the pacing of the season that went wrong here. Because I feel like they had 10 episodes and they needed to fill these 10 episodes. So they added like filler episode. And I was really bothered by it. I feel like the season could have ended in maybe 7 or 8 episodes because they had no creativity anymore by the end of the season. What do you think
hmm
about that?
Yeah, well, I'll say the showmakers agree because I mean, new story. I'll just say it now because I mean we don't need to make a whole new segment for it. Honestly, it's just to quickly point out. Yeah, in season four, they reported 7 days ago. There's only going to be 6 episodes, and yeah, more detailed, but and more stuff going on. But yeah, only 6 episodes, and that's good because after season three, with all this filler, yeah,
I feel
I think
like they could take away literally like 3 episodes, maybe four, even four, man, four. Like that season wasn't really great. Like 10 episodes was too many for me. Um, Now
yeah.
another issue, same plot again, but we already mentioned that.
Yeah. Oh, that's my biggest issue with this whole thing. They repeated the same shit so many times. It's just put me to sleep.
Yeah, the third thing, Allison was one of my issues because I didn't really care about her in season two, and in season three, she was actually turning into a villain, and I guess that's fine, but I I feel like the execution was really bad, and sometimes some of her lines and her motive and like why she's doing that, I was rolling my eyes. I was like, okay, because you lost your daughter, you're now turning into that crazy villain that wants to control everyone. Like Luther is in love with someone, and you dare to freaking mind control him to kiss him. It's like it feels like CW said it. Like even if I will defend CW the best I can, I hate that kind of a freaking plot. Why are you doing this? Like I don't need to see this crap.
The best plot. What are you talking about? It provides so much to the story.
So, man, before we speak a little bit about season 4 and that news and everything, uh, I think we could move on to the grade for this third season.
Yeah, I'm about done. But yeah, again, it's honestly, I'll give this either this gets a 5.5 out of 10, which is just all right for me, or I'll give it a 6 out of 10 and improve season 2 to a 6.5 just a little bit because this is worse. But I'll leave it at a 5.5 for now. So yeah, that's a 7.5, a 6 or 6.5, and then a 5.5. Nice. Okay. What about you?
Season 3 for me is a 5 out of 10, and for me it's bad. When it's 5, it's bad. You failed the test, and it's sad because I liked a lot the first season, but it only kept getting worse each season because first season I gave a 9, which is kind of high for me. I gave a 7 to the second season, which is average for me. And then it turns out to be bad with the third season. So I'm like, why? Like, I will give a good example of bad season. Supergirl 5th season was a 5 for me. Now, between Supergirl 5th season and this Umbrella Academy 5th season, I think Supergirl was a bit worse because they did character assassination on someone else and they turned someone that should not be a villain into a villain just for the sake of it. That was even worse. But another 5 out of 10 I would give would be Legends of Tomorrow first season. And I think actually Legends of Tomorrow first season is actually better than Umbrella Academy. And it's kind of shocking for me because the first season of Legends of Tomorrow had tone issues. Anyway, I'm disappointed. That was really rough for me to watch the third season. And then they take away the entire cast power at the end, that cliffhanger. I'm like, really? Are we watching a comic book TV show where people are powerless? Are you kidding me? Do I need to watch that? Okay, so, season 4 expectation, except if you'd like to share some closing thoughts on the third season.
That's it. Just yeah, but yeah. Honestly, if you get that artist who did the teaser for fucking season 2 of Invincible, I'm sure he could come up with better story than this season 3 here.
I
Uh,
hope. I hope they do.
yeah, I'm sure his porn stories are better than whatever they came up with here. Anyway, yeah, season 4 though, yeah. I just hope, I just hope, again, try to close it off. Listen, yeah, I don't care at this point, about like some.
We have lost Cole for now. Maybe something came up. Maybe. Maybe.
Sorry, my mic cut off. My bad. Listen, at this point, after everything, I don't care about some storylines repeating again or some other stuff. Just close it off, at least detailed and executed well, and at least good, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
all I want. That's all I want. I'm not expecting it to be season 1 ever again.
Me too. I gave up on that after watching the third season. Okay, season 4. Um, then 6 episode. What do you think about that?
Yep, I think that's a smart move again after season 3 and so many filler, unneeded episodes. It's good that they're just closing off the finale with show finale with 6 episodes, detailed, lots of stuff. Yeah, I
I
think that's
agree.
smart. Yeah, it's basically like Gotham, except they actually are doing it. Because it's a good idea instead of Gotham being forced to do it.
Yeah. And what do you think the fourth season will be about after that cliffhanger?
Oh, it's gonna be another Doomsday thing. Hell yeah.
A fourth Doomsday. We didn't add enough of these.
Yeah, what do you expect at this point? Like, it's the season finale. Do you need to go off of, out with another boom? So,
Look. This time around, it's a Doomsday, but they are powerless. The power will go
uh,
to the people.
powerless, and we can race swap them all to be is Arabic.
Yeah, and we,
It,
we get Arabic half of the time.
yeah,
Subtitle, man.
yeah.
Subtitle.
Let's not talk about that accident with that film. But listen, Google said it was in French and English mainly, and then they put Arabic at the very bottom. And Jesus fuck, I still hate that. Eh.
Now, what I would want. Now, I expect another Doomsday just like you, but what I would want is closure, like proper closure, like on everyone, and maybe give them like their powers back. I don't know, like I just don't know how they can make a fourth season because season three with them losing their power feels like it could have ended the show there, and season four doesn't feel that needed. So I actually don't know how they will tackle that final season, and it's a bit sad because it's your final season and you want to go on a blast. Like you want to tell people that's the best season, so people are motivated to watch all four seasons. But what can they do if they are powerless? I think that won't be that interesting because this means they will save some money on freaking CG and stuff. Where the money will go to the actors only, and we will have like people talking for 6 episodes. Great, we will turn a superhero TV show into a drama, but written by not that great drama people. My. I guess we can move to Elvis now. So,
Yes.
what did you think of Elvis?
Well, I'll start off by saying that yeah, I saw this film back in like when it released in theaters in like June or July or something. So it's been a little while. So I'm not gonna remember all my pros and cons. Like there are other, you know, cons I had with the film. I'm pretty sure that I just won't be able to remember. But yeah, I mean, overall though, yeah, I really enjoyed this film, and even if again, no matter what you think of like certain, finding certain things like cheesy or if there's like certain flaws you might have with it, with a Baz Luhrmann film, you're almost always still gonna get at least a fun experience where you kind of just like want to throw away like your like your critic pen and fucking paper and just yeah have fun. And yeah, this did the trick again. One of my biggest issues though honestly was Tom Hanks' character. So it is the thing. I understand what he was going for because the guy in real life, like part of him being like this sketchy con artist, is you don't even know where he's from, and his accent keeps switching like in and out to like different regions of America and everything, and that's what he was doing there. All right, or attempting to do there. I just did not like the execution. I think he did a poor job with the execution of it and with his accent. And I think you could have easily gotten someone a lot better to do it. And also the fat suit on him looked terrible. So honestly, his whole character is one of the weakest parts of the film for me. But yeah, I mean, one of the strongest parts though is definitely the lead in it though. With yeah, what was his what was his name again? Jesus fuck yeah, Austin Butler. Yeah, this he spent like 3 years straight just preparing for this and nothing else. and God, he's like he got so addicted to this role while doing it that like his accent has this his Elvis accent is still like is stuck to him after doing the film and interviews and everything. But yeah, he
Wow.
did a great job. And yeah, again the visual aspects and the editing aspects, yeah, really well done. There were some sloppy mistakes here and there, like at a few points with it, but overall, yeah, really well done. That's something that Baz Luhrmann always does well with his films. With the editing and visual style of it all,
Yeah.
um, and the costume design, the makeup design, and stuff, and showing this whole story. Like again, we all knew about Elvis and a lot of parts of the story, but the way he shows us it though, it gives like it feels fresh still with the way he does it, throughout the whole film from like the first scene we see him to the very end. And yeah, God, what was that what was it I was gonna mention again? Fuck, what was it? Oh, there was something I was just God, I forgot off the top of my head. Fuck, what was it? Jesus shit. Jesus fuck. Oh, don't you love when this happens? And this is what happens when you haven't seen a film for like 10 months. You forget shit easily. Yeah, but anyway, the concert scenes were entertaining as well, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna try to
Remember?
remember what I was thinking of for a second. Was it Yeah, I don't know. I'll try to think of it later. But anyway, what did you think of this film? Though overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Wasn't amazing for me, but yeah, what did you think though?
I will admit that was really hard for me to judge it the same way I do with other movies. And here's the why. I don't know much about Elvis. All was his life, and this is basically a
Oh,
movie
okay,
about
that's what
his
I was
life.
gonna say. Yes, there were some historical inaccuracies that I don't know why they like kind of changed up, but I guess they did it for like again the movie experience. But like again, there are moments that happen in the film, such as like when Martin Luther King or whatever gets shot, and then it's like everybody stops production and watches on like no that shit that didn't happen, and then there's other stuff that yeah it didn't happen. But they kind of like changed history a bit there, but other aspects of it are true though. Yeah, like
Okay,
most like I would say 80 at least 80% of it is facts.
so usually I speak about characters, their arc and stuff, and who they are, and if it's well done, and the writing and stuff, and the story and everything. Usually that's how I base my critiques and my dislikes and my likes, And here that was really hard for me because I knew about Elvis for sure. I knew about him, but not in detail. I knew he died young, and I knew he was doing rock, but that's pretty much it about what I knew about him. And because of that, I didn't know how to think about the characters, the performance, and like the supporting cast and stuff. For me, that was just solid acting. But because I didn't know that background he had, that was really hard for me to point out issues. I still
Yeah,
I
like again, his manager was a con artist and shit. He pretty much yeah, like stole half of his fortune or pretty much all of it, and did horrible decision makings with him and drove into just like working like this like a horse and and doing like dumb ideas like films that he was shitty at.
Now I've got a question for you because you look like someone that knows more than me about Elvis for sure. Did he really went in the army because of the music?
Um,
because that
Yeah, I
plot
believe so.
felt
Yeah, because like yeah, after
weird.
that stunt, yeah, he went to the army. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, Now, my biggest issue with this movie, the pacing. I feel like most of his younger day, I will say like the first half an hour of the movie, I thought was very long, and there were spaces in the middle, and by the end, that was very long. I feel like this 2 hour and a half movie could have been like 1 hour and a half, and I don't know where exactly I would cut because there's a lot of places here and there. I think the middle part where his career really starts and then he goes to the military, that's good stuff. Then we had him coming back, that's also good stuff. And we had his downfall and him becoming a wash up rock star. That was very good. I liked a lot the downfall, and I will admit there is character growth for Elvis as the main character throughout the movie, and I don't know how accurate this is because I don't really know the man. But I will admit, like flip flopping at some point, accepting and then kicking out uh, on stage as manager was very interesting. But I think the pacing really killed the movie for me. It was a very long movie, and I feel like it didn't need to be
Yeah, I
this
mean, it
long.
did go through his whole kind of career though, so that is a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that could be a good argument in favor, but yeah, like it's not my cup of tea. I will also admit this. This is not my cup of tea because this is a biography type movie, and I like made up stories. Even if my favorite one are the more grounded one, the more realistic ones,
That's fair enough. Yeah.
I still like fiction, and because it's
Hmm.
based on real life, and it's inspired by real life and by someone that really existed. I just feel like it doesn't catch me as much as other movies.
That's fine. Again, we're just watching this because we're going through all these films. So yeah, this was on there, and again, like it wasn't your cup of tea. That's fine.
Yeah,
You gave it some credit. You gave it things that yeah you weren't into. Yeah, that's fine.
I was still
Again, like
entertained.
I don't love this film. There is
Yeah,
a lot of people in this community who love this film. One of their favorite a year, like unbiased movie nerd and Alex Lantern. But for me, I thought it was very good, but I wouldn't put it on that pedestal either.
yeah. So I think the music was good and the cast was great. Like the people working made it believable, and this is very good. I liked a lot how the world reacted to Elvis becoming popular, and it made sense, I guess. But here again, I cannot critique
Yeah, did
to
you
the
like the ending of how he basically dies alone, the manager?
yeah, yeah. That's fitting. Um, and also Elvis also dies kind of like on stage at some extent. Like eh, he's like he was dying. His downfall was like you have seen it coming, and that was interesting. I think the best part of the movie is that last half an hour where everything turned into crap. Like his wife leaves him for a good reason, and she wants the best for him, and doesn't give a crap about it. um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think overall it was still a solid movie. Even if it's not my cup of tea, I admit it was a well done movie. So I don't have much to say here because, as I said, I barely know the guy. Um, what I know is what I've seen in the movie, and that's it. And I think the characters. It's hard to say, but man, the acting made them likable, but that's weird to say because this is based on kind of real life. So it's weird to say people are likable, you know?
Yeah, and again, his father, Jesus, he mishandled his money too.
Yeah.
Man.
Um. So I think we covered a lot of that movie fast because I don't have much to say. Um. So maybe that note will surprise you, but I will actually give this movie a 9 out of 10. The pacing is the only issue I could find, and maybe I I overrate this movie because I barely know how Elvis' life was, and this is a movie based on his life.
Yeah, well,
Furthermore,
are you rating it like based off of what you think of the, just what you think of the film, or also just like how you enjoyed it? Like,
if I would rate it how I enjoyed it, it would be probably a 7. But I think it's a like that's how I rate everything. Like
so would it be to give it maybe like an 8 out of 10 to go in between,
you
or
see,
would a 9 out of 10 be more fair?
that's funny because Jaded the fanboy, you know him, right? You know him. He did
Yeah.
a video about how to review stuff, and I fully agree with him. So I'm not making like compromise. Usually when I rate stuff, it's more based on the quality on stuff than what I feel. Um, I still share my thoughts and how I feel
Oh,
about
well, I
stuff. You
mean,
know.
I think it's important to have both because at the end of the day, no film is perfect.
Yeah.
There's always going to be at least like one flaw in the film. Even despite what Pickle might say, even 12 Angry Men has one minuscule flaw in it, all right? Like there's always going to be flaws in films no matter where you
Yeah.
look, all right? There's you can always find some in it or things that people don't like. So because of that, I mean, how do you separate the quality of a lot of them that are even or whatnot, or how does it affect some things? Again, your personal enjoyment. Again, like if you connect with a film, then yeah, that's important in my opinion. Like it's not just about like quality because not everything's objective. Honestly, even with like film criticism, there's a lot of the majority of it is subjective at the end of the day. So
Among all of the
yeah,
9 I would give, that's the weakest one because my enjoyment would be more of a 7 because I think it was
yeah,
average. But I cannot
okay, that's
give.
fair enough.
I think it's unfair to give this movie a 7 because my only issue was really the pacing. The pacing did hurt, and even there, like usually I don't take away entire point for one issue, except if the issue keeps coming back. Like in some cases, like the Mummy was a perfect example, or uh, another perfect example would be the pacing in the Umbrella Academy. Um, Pacing kept coming back, so I kept removing points, you know. But usually, like I just think even there, I feel like I'm a bit too harsh because my only issue I really had was the pacing, and you said it yourself. It's very subjective, and you didn't find that same pacing issue. So yeah, I think it deserves a 9 out of 10. Even if my enjoyment was more of a 7, I think it's fair to say it's a 9. But among the 9, that's the weakest 9 among all of the movies and even the shows. It's the weakest for me. Any
Okay, that's fair enough. Anyway, for me,
clo-
I'd probably give it like I guess. I'll give it a around a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. I'll say it's around a 7 or an 8. I don't know quite, but what I would give it. But yeah, not amazing to me or one of the best of the year. But yeah, it's very good or even great. I'll give it a 7.5 for now.
I enjoyed it. Like I think it was very average, you know, and that's sometimes that's good having something very average because you don't need to do the best thing ever to make it work. Um, so, any closing thoughts on Elvis? That was very short, but I don't have much to say.
Yeah, no, that's fine, and that's about it. So we've basically gone through the topics besides the one thing at the very end. So
Yeah,
this
so
this
you are
this
now.
wasn't planned earlier, but today the official nominees for the Oscars got released. So I figured let's go through them.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I guess.
So, do you have a page you can share me? Then I
Yes,
can
I'm
screen share.
going to screen share it right now if I'm able to. Let's see, share my screen. I believe this is the right one if I'm not mistaken. Yes, there we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Contribute to
Okay, you
this
can see my
page.
screen.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so these are the official nominees. Also, yeah, this is just humanitarian award. Michael J. Fox. That's nice to see. Back to the Future. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, not international film for obvious reasons. You don't really care much about. But yeah, here are the nominees. I have seen all of them. This film is literally you follow around a donkey for an hour and a half straight, and it just like going through the lens of its life. It's actually kind of interesting. Close is a pretty great film. It's kind of like about two kids who are like close friends and they start getting like bullied and stuff because kids like in their class claim they're like gay or
Yeah.
not, and yeah, they get like bullied and beaten up for it and stuff, and it has effect on their relationship. I have not seen this yet. This is a awesome courtroom drama, and then this is a great war film. Which I'll talk about later, but yeah, this is guaranteed to win. Because
Really?
this got nominated for Best Picture, so this is guaranteed to win pretty much that
That's
category.
good. Germany.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, this is the third time this film, All Quiet on the Western Front, was remade. For the record, yeah, that was great. Did have some issues with it, but yeah, we can just skip the short things. Yeah, here's the animated things. Yeah, I have seen them all. All says, yeah, these three right here are definitely the best. And then the rest, shit, whatever. It probably will go to Guillermo del Toro's thing. So documentaries don't really care about, I'm guessing. But yeah, visual effects. Okay, so this is where you get to more films you know about, I guess. So yeah, you got
Oh,
Avatar: The Way of Water, The
it's
Batman.
it's flashing.
Oh,
Do you know why it's flashing?
my thing flashing.
Yeah, like sometimes I see and sometimes I don't. Now it's black,
Okay.
black,
Oh,
white,
it's black.
black,
Uh,
white, black.
yeah, I believe that's like an issue on Discord screen share in general. On it might be just a my issue. I'll try to I'll just send you the link and you can try doing it instead. You can just scroll to
Where
the
is it
bottom
doing?
to where it says
Does I'm wondering if it was doing that when I was screen sharing.
yeah, I honestly have no clue, but we'll try yours. Yours usually works well anyway. But
Okay.
yeah, you can just screen share the link I sent you. Can scroll down to the bottom of visual effects and go up from there. I guess we can look at all the things.
Okay. So I just need. Okay, Academy Award. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
see what I see?
Yes. Yes. So
Is it
yeah,
blinking?
basically,
Is it blinking?
no, it's okay. No, it's fine.
Okay. So I guess we will go over to what we have seen. Even if we covered something similar
Yep, pretty
last week,
much.
that could be interesting to because I've seen more movies since last week. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Jan Ursold, humanitarian
Yeah, again, these
Award.
are just like humanitarian awards and honorary awards. They're nothing. You can just like scroll up. Again, we're at the visual effect section basically, so you can scroll up to that now, I suppose. Where it says visual effect achievements, which is, I believe, after the short things. Yes, it's after documentary feature.
That's funny because mine is in French. I think.
Yeah, that's fine. We know the films and we can see the posters, but yeah,
Best achievement
yeah,
in
that there
visual
we go.
effects. Okay, this one I haven't seen it. This one as well,
Yeah,
but I think we plan on covering that eventually because I'm curious to see
yeah.
why
Again,
people praise it.
basically another thing why I'm showing this is yeah, we're planning on covering most of these or the majority of these, besides ones that we can't count for well that we can't watch for reasons, and we have lots of time too because the thing is up until March 12th. So yeah, and we'll be watching 2 or 3 a week. So yeah, we'll have time. And again, we've already seen like 5 now, so or actually like 10. So yeah, but yeah, we haven't seen Top Gun Maverick yet, or and you haven't seen Black Panther,
Yeah,
but yeah. Now all quiet on the Western Front, though. I will say though, even though it is a foreign film, I will say there is a dub of it on Netflix, and I actually heard the dub of it is good. It's getting good
really.
reception. So if you wanted to give it a chance, yeah, we can
If there's a
do
dub,
that. And
I'm on board. I want to see it.
it's a dub on Netflix. So yeah, you can if you have Netflix, then
Yeah.
yeah, we can,
Okay, so the only two movie
awesome.
the only two movies I've seen here are Avatar and the Batman. I,
Yeah, out of those two, which one would you give it to just right now?
to be honest, maybe I'm biased here because I just think the Batman is a much better movie overall than Avatar. I will give it to the Batman. Maybe I'm biased, but I mean Avatar, as much as it was all about the visual, I just feel like based on what I remember at least from the first one, um, it was just the same thing with a bit of a different story. Nothing visually
Yeah, I
stick
mean the
for me.
film. I agree with you, but on the visual effects, I will say I do think like they were amazing, and again, with the entire film is nothing but visual effects, and the polishness of it is godlike. And there were only like a few moments where like the frame rate was off, but that's about it. So, well, and yeah, the Batman's definitely a way better film, but there's not much visual effects in it. So
What I when I look at Avatar, maybe that's because I've only seen it once, and the Batman I've seen it 6 times. Uh, when I think about the Batman, I remember the Batmobile going through freaking flame, the chase scene in the rain. I remember Batman jumping from the ceiling and kicking butts of people on the fucking platform, you know? I remember stuff that were really cool to see. And when I look back at Avatar, I can't remember what really stick on my mind outside of maybe fire on water at the end. Or maybe when the girl did the seizure underwater, but even there, man, bruh.
yeah, but anyway, so the next category, but yeah, we'll be watching all these anyway, so it's fine. You can, especially because we have the dub now for that one film. But yeah, yeah, the next one is yeah, best achievement in music written for motion picture original song. Okay, so I'm just gonna. There's one here we'll definitely. Well, there's two here we probably won't be watching. RRR is Indian, but I will say it is just like a mindless, fun, entertaining blockbuster Indian film, and yeah, the song I do think deserves it, and that's the only thing that deserved it. So thank God. Um, Now the other one, okay, Tell It Like a Woman. Okay, so this is like a very obscure, just random ass man, what the fuck film. Okay, so here's the thing. You saw the name earlier, Diane Warren. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a history lesson. This person has been nominated in the last like 20 years, like about like 18 times for this category, original song. And she always writes songs and makes songs and like for films and like 99% of the time, honestly, bad films. And she always gets nominated because the Academy likes her, and she has not won once yet. She has still winless in her career, and that's honestly the main reason why they're giving her an honorary Oscar, just in case she never does before she dies. But yeah, and that's why she was. This film is nominated here with this award, and yeah, and her thing there because they literally it's like anytime she makes a song, they just automatically nominate her, and then yeah,
Really?
and then yes, and then Top Gun Maverick song. Yeah, it was pretty good, and then yeah, Everything Everywhere's song is just like RRR's. Yeah, those two are the best, and then yeah, Black Panthers is the most emotionally manipulative piece of shit song ever. Um, and it's the worst Rihanna song ever. If this wins, I'm gonna jump off a fucking cliff. But it's going to because this is what they do. They basically just give the award for original song each year to. Okay, which song did a famous celebrity make? This one. Okay, let's give it to that. Oh
So
my
that's
god.
why we don't have like original teams like the score of because I think the Batman had the great score.
Well. There's original score. Yes, it's
Oh,
up
okay.
above right there.
Oh,
Now
okay.
the Batman did not get nominated, and honestly, I do think that's kind of deserved because I don't think they made enough original music for it outside of the same loop, and I do think they kind of overdid it and did it kind of manipulatively. But there are other choices here I don't really agree with either. That Babylon I can accept. Fabelmans I can accept, and that's honestly what's probably gonna
Fablemans,
win
actually,
with
you're
what.
right. I liked the music in Fablemans. I didn't like when it was going all musical,
Yeah,
but
it
I
is,
like the music.
and it's been winning like every other award show, and it's John Williams who has like 61 nominations now and like 5 wins, so he's a legend. So they're probably gonna give him this win. And then yeah, everything everywhere is I think is
Yeah,
great, and then Banshees I do think is great as well.
I will
So
admit,
I can
Banshee, even if I wasn't a fan, I think they've used well the music.
Yeah, so anyway, so I can agree with those four. I will be honest. All Quiet on the Western Front, that there were elements in its score that I liked, and it kind of gave me flashbacks to like 11:11 Memories Retold score from that video game. But there were other elements in it where that were just like ugly. And just like cliche da 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 for the whole film. Like when you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I do think there were way better options. Like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio had a way better soundtrack, or Bones and All. But they, of course, they were not going to nominate that film. Anyway, let's go up above.
I
I
think
guess.
I think about the score between the Fableman and the Banshees, the two I've seen. The Fablemans had a better score, I think.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's probably going to win because it's winning at every award show. Yeah.
So, what do you think about each? Because we have seen all five movies.
Um. Well. Well, I have, but yeah, I mean, I think no, sorry, I think the Banshees is the best score, and then Everything Everywhere second, especially with what it had to do in its score. Had to do a lot for reasons because it was working with like a lot of shit, like where it had to keep changing up its music. And then I would say the Fableman's third, and the Babylon's fourth, and Old Quiet's fifth. That's where I'd kind of place them. But anyway, so then I guess makeup and hairstyling is next above.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
The Well,
Uh,
a movie we will eventually cover.
yeah, now I do not agree with Black Panther's nom. Okay, I will say, despite not liking either Black Panther too much and not understanding these fucking nominations. But thankfully it didn't get the big one. Thank God that did not happen again, as it did the last time. But there is one thing that I respect about it. That's that I do think the costume design in both Black Panthers is actually pretty amazing. The makeup and hairstyle, on the other hand, I do think it's not very polished. It's like there are moments where it's awesome, and then other moments where it's like a rough Halloween costume.
It's
I
Marvel,
don't
bro.
agree. Yeah, it's just classic Marvel. And again, this just a film getting overhyped and not nominees because black culture, blah blah blah. Chadwick Boseman, blah blah whatever. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, yeah, Elvis. Yeah, you could say is deserved again. Anytime there's like a biopic off of like a real life person and they do well with like the makeup and stuff, it's guaranteed to get a nominee and a performance thing usually. The Batman, yeah, deserved. All Quiet, yeah, definitely deserved. And The Whale, definitely deserved. And I think The Whale, honestly, this is really tough. This could go to literally any film here in these five, besides maybe The Batman. But I
Really?
think they're gonna
You
give,
didn't
yeah.
like
But
the
I think
Batman?
yeah, I think they're gonna give it to. Well, I just think the Batman had the least amount of makeup and hairstyle, and that's all. But anyway, I do think they'll give it to the whale though, because usually when they use a fat suit in a film, it wins. For some reason, voters have like a bias for like using people using like a fat suit for like makeup and hairstyling, because you have to make it look really well done, or else it looks terrible. Like a certain someone in that Elvis film with the fat suit. Which was nominated, I guess, as well for that. Part of the reason, even though it was bad. Anyway, yeah. I mean, who do you think should win just outside of? I mean, just off of the two you've seen so far, though, the Batman or Elvis?
It's really hard for me to say because man, as
I
much
mean, again,
as
we'll see all these eventually again, but
uh,
just off of the two you've seen so far.
I think they did a great job with Elvis, and I feel like there maybe there's actually no. I think I will give it to Elvis because it really feels um like that time where they made like the director really feel like they were out from the 50s, I think 60s, you know. So because of that, I think I will give it to Elvis because they rely much more on makeup than Batman, I think. um, yeah, I think I will give it to Elvis. They rely much
Yeah,
more on that, on the ambience of the movie, and yeah, I think as much as the Batman was good on that aspect for me at least, I think Elvis relied much more on it than Batman, because Batman, a lot of the money went in the CGI, the action, and the stuff. Well, Elvis, most of the money went in the costume and the haircut and the hairstyling and makeup. So I think Elvis
hmm,
deserves it here.
yeah, yeah. For me, I would give it to Elvis or the whale, probably the whale. But yeah, I mean, All Quiets was really good as well. It wasn't like perfect in all areas, but the one thing they did really well, and when you see the film, is there's a lot of war films that have done well with obviously like killings and dead bodies and gore, but All Quiet was is honestly one of the few that accurately depicted with the makeup and hairstyling, like how dead bodies would actually look in the trenches of World War I after like getting shot and stuff, or like more or like explosions without like just being like a bunch of body parts like in Hacksaw Ridge or something. So or, so I yeah, so that was well done. But anyway, so I guess we were going on to sound. Okay,
Best sound.
yeah. Out of these, I would say maybe uh they'll have a bias for. Here's the thing: they either have a bias for two things usually. Number one, they have a bias for and just anytime there's like a musical type film and it gets best sound, and there isn't like a standout that year in like a war film genre, they'll usually give it to that just because of that, or anything or any other film that just is about sound. It doesn't matter if the sound's actually that well done. If it's just about sound, they'll give it to that because that's their stupid bias and not knowing what the fuck sound design is. Especially when they had the categories separated before best sound mixing and best sound editing. The fucking voters had no clue what the difference was, and it was hilarious. Like, one year they gave that garbage Bohemian Rhapsody, which deserved no awards, both sound design awards, even and nominees and wins, despite the fact that there was literally no sound editing in that film. But because they don't know, or was it sound mixing? Actually, I was sound mixing. Because they don't know the difference between sound mixing and sound editing. And that's now why the categories are pretty much combined for that reason.
Okay. So, what would
Yeah, but
be
anyway, off of
your?
that rant. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's good. That's like the part where you shine.
Yeah, yeah, but anyway, but their other bias again is war films for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So, and for this one, again, I don't think Elvis will win with its sound design and with All Quiet and Top Gun being there. I think it's going to go down to those two. Now, it depends on if you think the guns and stuff and the weapons and All Quiet and, the trenches sounds were better than the jet sounds and realisticness of Top Gun Maverick or not. That's what it comes down to. I think they might give this one to Top Gun Maverick. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. So I've only seen three movies out of these five: Avatar, Elvis, and Batman. Uh,
Yeah,
Now I will go by elimination. Avatar, I think it's clearly the worst movie out of these three, and even if they did good work because it was still a somewhat decent production and stuff.
yeah, they did do a good again. All the technical aspects and everything, they did an amazing job with. At least, even if the film itself is the weakest here overall, but I will say the sound design, yeah, it's probably the weakest out of the five.
Yeah, yeah, that's the weakest. Even if they worked well on it, and it's
Yeah, it
a
just isn't as great as the other four on
yeah.
sound design.
Now I'm really torn apart because sound are essential to Elvis because it's a musical, and I wasn't as invested as the Batman because it's more of a biography stuff, and I will go further with this. Maybe it's me watching on a computer that is kind of guilty of that, but I feel like some moment I needed to level up the volume because they were speaking really really low. Because I don't use the full capacity of my speakers because I don't want to turn deaf. So most of the time I use like maybe 70 to 75% of the volume on the website I use. And at many moments, I needed to turn it up to 100. And even at 100, sometime in Elvis, I struggled to follow. Uh, and I think it will damage a bit the sound for me at least. Because it's a drama. It's essential to get everything. Like the focus is on what's going on with the characters, and furthermore, the other focus is the music. And yeah, because
Yeah,
of that, I
yeah.
think
Like again, they got the gunplay in the Batman like was really good, and
yeah,
like the ricochets and stuff with the armor,
I
and the finale with the flood.
I think Elvis, as much as it was a well done movie, we just covered it a few minutes ago, and I gave a 9 because it was a well done movie. I I think it was more like the story itself that made that movie so good. It wasn't that much of the music, and this is weird because it's technically speaking a musical movie. I think what made this movie worth watching was the surrounding and not necessarily the music itself. And since it's a musical, like, man, we need to expect more from that. Music should be as important as the story elements or the drama weight or stuff like that. That's how I see it when your main thing is a musical. It's the same thing like with humor when you're doing a comedy. Like the focus should be on being funny, you know, and with musical focus should be the music. And I feel like the sound didn't level as high as the rest of the movie for Elvis. So because of that, Elvis, even if it's better than Avatar, it's not as good as the Batman for me sound wise. And ask me to remember the score of Elvis, I won't. Even if I
Mhm.
try, I can't remember which
Oh,
music
oh yeah,
is like
fair enough. I
the
mean,
theme.
score is separate, but yeah,
I
yeah,
still
you,
consider score being similar to sound because I mean it's part
well,
of what you hear.
score is like again the individually created like music for the film.
Yeah,
Sound design is just like the sound of like everything. Like you
gunshot,
drop like yeah
crashing
that. So it's
glasses.
yeah,
Uh,
it also is important to know like how you mix it with the music and everything else. Again, it's all and that's why it should be separate sound mixing and
yeah,
sound editing, where the creation of sound and then the other one is for how it's edited into the film, and
yeah,
that's why it's important to have them separated. But and so films such as like Tenet would get one for like the creation of sound, but the sound that edited together they didn't do as good of a job with. But the reason why they don't is because these idiot voters can't, even though it's their fucking job and they're in Hollywood, can't tell the difference for some reason. So they just combined it.
yeah. And I,
Yeah,
I
like the majority years they would just nominate the same films for each one as well, so it would just get an extra basically.
I think the Batman also had a lot of weight in the sound effect as well, like the bat in the cage, the crashing glasses when Batman blows up the ceiling to enter, and these gunshots. I think they were believable, and like even when he caught the cable with his batarang, like everything had a sound, and I think the Batman was well done. It was well made from start to finish. I think. So
Yeah, I agree.
they
Out of those two, I would go with the Batman as well.
they take the win here with the Batman. I think because there's much more sound to look forward to hear, and like even the boots on the ground. You know when he walks at the start of the movie in the alley, you can see the weight of his armor, and he's not that muscular, and I really hope like in the sequel, Robert Pattinson train, because I really want him to be a Hulk like Ben Affleck. You know, I want him to be in shape. I want a Batman in shape. But anyway, um, even if he wasn't the most muscular, like we could feel the weight by the sound of the boots, and this is good aspect of what makes a good movie, you know. And if the sound wasn't that great, I would not like go on and on about the Batman having good sound, because that's just me. Like I really enjoyed the movie. You can tell, you know it. But yeah, I think the Batman wins for me there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious if it will win one of these three that it's nominated for. I don't think it will, and yeah, I do think it deserved a couple more than it got, but whatever. Anyway, but next one is costume design. Okay, now okay, I don't know why that film at the bottom's there, but whatever. I mean, I'm just, it's good costume design. It's just there's better costume design movies than that. Whatever. I guess that's for the old people. It's an old okay film, I guess. Anyway, but yeah, not that one. Babylon's costume design, yeah, it was pretty great. Again, Black Panther. This is the one and probably the only thing for both the first and second film that I can understand. The costume design. They're both fantastic in those films, but now, and in the first one, I'd probably actually give it the win. In this one, would I give it the win though over Babylon or Everything Everywhere or Elvis? I probably wouldn't, but I have a feeling it's going to win.
Yeah.
But for me, I would probably give the win to, yeah, I would either give it to Babylon or because when we see Everything Everywhere, you'll see like there's the costume designs that some of the characters, or yeah, a lot of the characters wear for most of the film isn't anything special, but there are so many like small scenes throughout the film, and so many of them have like created costumes for that are really detailed for each small scene that just put together in the whole film, and the amount they made is crazy. So I think it honestly deserves it. Me personally, I don't know. Yeah, I mean you've only seen one film here, so
I think Elvis is good, but that's my only point of reference there. But I do think the costume in Elvis was good.
yeah. Anyway, so production design, I guess. All right, so you've seen three of these here, so that's good. But
Yeah.
yeah, me personally, again, the production in the Fablemans, I do think it was a little too overproduced, but that's just me. I do think they could have done a better job of getting the feel and everything right, but they did still do a good job. I just wouldn't have nominated it personally. I think there are better ones that did it better, but it's still good. Yeah, Elvis did a good job. Yeah, Babylon did a good job. Again, there are some issues with Babylon, but it's still a good film and it shined in these areas. Yep, Avatar did a good job. It kind of fits with its visual effects as well, with its production design. All Quiet did a good job, but I do think it was a little unrealistic with like the environment they were in compared to actual like World War I trenches. So, yeah, I honestly don't know. I honestly think that like there are way better choices that are just nominated here for this category, like The Northman, which is just
I've heard
I'm
good
not
stuff
really a
about the Northman.
yeah. Again, I'm really not a big fan of it. We might watch it again after we watch like the majority of these films here. We might like fit in like a few of these. A few other films to watch that didn't get nominated at all, just to say yeah, just to say yeah, they should have nominated these in there. And but I mean, it is kind of hard to understand some of the dialogue in The Northman, but kind of like The Lighthouse, but it is a lot easier than The Lighthouses to understand. So yeah. But anyway, out of these, I don't know. Honestly, I'd probably give it to maybe. I would probably give it to Babylon. Barely. I don't know.
Me, I've only seen Avatar, Elvis, and Fableman. Um, Among the three, it's really hard. Sorry about that. It's really hard for me to tell which one has the best production, because I think they were all really well produced. Um, Maybe I would actually give it to Avatar, because this is fiction and they made fiction believable. And
Yeah, I
for
was
me,
really
gains
thinking
point.
about that. I really was, because just like the visual effects, the world building. The only thing that was holding me back from saying it is because they could have maybe added a bit more, creatures in the world and stuff,
I
But I
agree.
guess that's not production design, no. But
I agree with you on that, but I think they take the win there because it's fiction and it was a believable world. Even if the movie wasn't perfect, it was a well done movie. So I think the design of Pandora or whatever it's called, it was smart. It was the
yeah,
best part of
honestly, the
it.
more I think about it, I might have to go with Avatar again.
Yeah. Uh, but that doesn't take away anything from Fableman and Elvis for me because I still like how
Yeah.
they made these two.
So
Best
next is
achievement in film editing.
yeah. So I've seen three here again, and I've seen all of them. So this is the so again when it comes to film editing, um, either if it this is what usually happens. Either they make the correct choice and give it to the film that actually has the best editing, which in this case would be something like Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, or Tar. Or what they'll do is they'll just give it to the film that has the most editing, the most frantic, cutty editing out there because they're just like, oh, edit, 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 ha ha ha, good. I'll vote for that. Just they usually do, which is why they gave it to Ford v Ferrari that won the year over Parasite for some reason. But so in that aspect, they would either give it to Elvis, Everything Everywhere, or Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, I don't know. It depends. It depends if you like the more. If you think the more frantic editing style and Everything Everywhere is the best, or if you think the more chill but like because the thing is, the editing and like the editing isn't just like a bunch of cuts. It's one good thing of editing is like is if you do it like so it flows with the rest of the film where you can barely even notice the cuts. And I think the Banshees of Inisherin, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick all did that incredibly well, and also Everything Everywhere as well. Elvis is the only one where you can kind of notice it. So
That's funny because here that's I think the hardest among all we did so far for me because I think I mentioned pacing all three times and I really don't know. For me it's between Elvis and Tar because I remember Banshees having a much bigger pacing issue for me among the three.
yeah. But
So
honestly, you might enjoy the editing in Top Gun Maverick the most. Then honestly, but I will say, try to think of it like this: what editing in a film, in which film did you notice the less? Like which one didn't stand out the most? Like it just flowed with the rest of the film perfectly because of the perfectly timed edits. Because I think that's what it comes down to. If you don't like the pace in either of the three.
I think at that point, I think it goes down to which movie I liked more. Maybe it's really hard because I can't even remember the grade of Tar. I think I will go
Uh,
for Tar.
Yeah, you gave Tar like around a 7 or an 8, I believe. But yeah,
Actually, no, I will give it to Elvis. You just reminded me of the score. You're right. I gave like 7.
yeah,
Elvis.
because you said that you loved everything about Tar, but the pacing just single
Yeah,
handedly dragged it down a lot. That's what you said.
Elvis. Elvis all the way.
Yeah,
Now I remember what I said, and you're right. Elvis
yeah,
all the way for me.
yeah. And the next one, I guess, is cinematography. So yeah, Bardo is a foreign film, and it's and unlike All Quiet, it doesn't really have a dub, or at least a good one, so we probably won't be watching it. And it's only nominated for this throughout the whole show, so that's fine. But yeah, it's made by a pretty known director, and he did a previous film with a similar name called Birdman, or or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, which won Best Picture in 2014. So yeah, yeah, it's yeah, great cinematography there, but yeah, I don't think it should win. Empire Light, very good cinematography, one of the best aspects of that disappointing film, but I don't think it should win either. Honestly, I think once again, I think the cinematography choices here are a little disappointing. I think there are better cinematography in other films that they snubbed. Again, The Northman, Decision to Leave, and yeah, many others. But out of them, though, I'd probably give it to Honestly, it's gonna go to All Quiet on the Western Front probably because it's the most obvious. But I do think it probably deserves to go to. Yeah, I'll give it to Bardo actually out of the five. I guess more I think about it.
So I've only seen Elvis and Tar, and Elvis wins the cake there, because it was the
Yeah,
movie set in the past, and it was very believable for me.
yeah. Anyway, so next, yeah, best adapted screenplay, and I'm happy to tell you that that overrated film, which just relies on a bunch of a high budget and production, Glass Onion. This is its only nomination, luckily, because good film, but it did not deserve anything more than like one or two nominations, and honestly, like I don't even think it doesn't deserve this one even. It deserved like a production design one, I think, but not a write-in. The write-in's like one of the weakest aspects of it in this one
Yeah,
in comparison to the first. But
that's
anyway, so
funny.
definitely,
That's funny because that's the only one I've seen among these five, and I feel like most of the movies we keep seeing deserves it much more than this one.
yeah. Yeah, out of these, I'll say I think. Also, Old Quiet on the Western Front again, on its own is a great war film, but adapting the book and other films, Old Quiet on the Western Front, it didn't do things it should have. It tried to do new things and with mixed results, so I don't think it deserves an adapted screenplay. Definitely not. Yeah, okay. Out of these, I would definitely probably give it to Women Talking, and it it's the it only has two nominees, and but the other one it has is the biggest one, so there was a chance it could upset and get the big prize because I mean that happened last year with a film where it was only nominated for three and then it won the two other support adapted screenplay and supporting actors, so we'll see. But yeah, I think it's the most obvious one sticking out, and yeah, I think it's the best. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll give it to that. Anyway, I guess it's original screenplay next, and yeah, we've seen three of these.
Yeah. What would
So
be
which one do you
your
like more?
pick there?
Uh, I'd probably give it to. Okay, both I consider both of them masterpieces, but I do think Everything Everywhere is better, better overall. But I do think the Banshees writing is better, so I would give it to that. But actually, shit, I forgot. Yeah, Tar is fucking masterful writing as well. Yeah, I would give it the Banshees or Tar. I do think Everything is the best film out of the five, but I think yeah, Banshees or Tar has the best writing. And Triangle Sadness is also amazing. Yeah, all of them do a fantastic job. But yeah, what about you?
Fableman. Um,
Yeah.
that was my favorite movie out of the three we have seen there, and
Hmm.
that's the one I will more likely rewatch in the future, probably. Uh, yeah, that's the biggest reason why I picked that one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's obvious, but yeah. Okay, so I guess directing, yes, okay. Yeah, Spielberg will probably win it because of all the reasons that I said earlier in the stream, but
Yeah,
I don't think he deserves it. I think the person who deserves it the most would be, yeah, Dan Kwan and Dan Schneinert or whatever you pronounce his name. Yeah, I think they did the best job with direction. I think all five of these nominees were kind of deserved though. Yeah.
I agree.
Um, yeah.
Um,
But again, directing wise, I do think that's the best. But yeah.
yeah,
Anyway.
I the director, man, here again, Fableman is my favorite of the three movies, but I still feel like Tar did great job with directing. So it's really hard for me. I feel like I'm biased, but I will go with Steven Spielberg again.
Yeah, hey, it's no bias. It's your favorite film out of the bunch. Anyway, now we have supporting actress. Okay, so I was really scared about this category going into it because of what other award shows, like what their nominees were. And I breathed, for the most part, a sigh of relief because, yeah, Carrie Condon was nominated, which is deserved. Jamie Lee Curtis was nominated, which is deserved. Stephanie, who's, so however you pronounce her last name, sorry, was nominated, which was a huge surprise. Nobody expected it, but deserved. And Han Chow in The Whale, who was also the again the assistant chef in the menu, if you remember that. You
Oh,
know,
you
the
you're
Chinese chef in
right.
the menu. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, I think her performance in The Whale is best of the year for this category, and I would go for with her. But she was getting snubbed at like almost every award show leading up to this, so I had no hope. But I breathed a huge sigh of relief. Um, now there was one big snub though, and that's yeah, again there's this actress who you'll know who she is when you watch the film in Triangle of Sadness, and yeah, she definitely should have been there over Angela Bassett. And this is where my sigh of relief, stops because it's the case with the nominees, but for the winners, yeah, despite all the praise I said with the four there, they're gonna give it to the one person who does not deserve to even fucking be here. Because for
Angela.
some yeah, because for some reason she's winning at every fucking award show this shit. And I have no fucking clue why. There is nothing fucking great about that performance. What are you people smoking? And it's just fucking in a baby MCU film with a generic script. Holy fuck. Oh my god.
Now this
But
is funny.
anyway,
I'm biased because The Banshees is the only movie among these fives, but I remember Carrie Condon being amazing in that movie. She was
yeah.
like the diamond in the rock, you know. For me, she carried the movie on her shoulders, and because of that, even if I have not seen the other four, I could attest that one is probably my favorite.
Yep. And we go to support an actor. And you remember when I hinted at before when I said pretty good for a performance, pretty great for a performance with only 3 minutes of screen time, which I'll bring up later. I said that.
Yeah.
This is why, because he got nominated for it. And look,
Okay.
he did a great job, memorable, character from just 3 minutes. But really, from like around 3 minutes of screen time, and he gets a nominee. I find that a little weird, but like I definitely would have picked James Hahn over him, who's
Two
in Everything
guys
Everywhere All at
from
Once.
two guys from Banshees. They really liked Banshees.
Yeah, yeah. Got Brendan Gleeson there, yeah, the guy's friend, and then yeah, Barry Keoghan's like the younger, kid. He's kind of like a
Right.
creep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both are deserved, but yeah. Anyway, out of the five, Ki Hua Kwan, or however you pronounce his name, he definitely deserves it, and he's gonna win. But yeah, I don't really agree with Judge Hurst's nominee, though. I would give it to James Hong. Again, if you don't know who he is, he was in Everything Everywhere as well as another supporting actor, and he did a he did a great job, and he's like fucking 95 years old or like 96 years old, and he's known for having the most credits, like actor credits out of any person in Hollywood history.
Yeah. That's good.
Yes, and he did that all as an Asian American actor from like the '60s and shit, which is impressive. So yeah, got his own Hollywood star recently, but yeah, I definitely would have picked him over Judge Hurst, but whatever. But out of these anyway, who would you think is the best though? Do you think Judge Hurst was the best, or
I can't remember which character he was. So because of that,
again he was the uncle who showed up at the house when she like had that dream
uh
or like
oh,
phone
okay.
call with her dead mother.
You did good
Yeah.
job. but I will give it to Brendan this time around. Because Brendan is the only one out of the three I actually remembered his role. And this is funny because Judd is from a movie we have seen today, and we have seen Banshees like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh well,
give
you
that to
don't remember
Brendan
Barry's
Gleason.
character?
No, I remember the kid, but I didn't recognize him on that picture. So because of that,
Uh,
I will give it to Brendan. Um,
okay. But yeah, I mean, he's the new Joker in the Batman films. Remember that? Yeah.
oh wow, really?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's been doing a lot of good stuff. He was in Dunkirk. He was in a lot of other stuff. But yeah. Anyway, lead actress. So yeah. Why is Ana de Armas here? I just need to know that.
Ooh.
This blonde film ended up being a fucking garbage disaster, embarrassment, and so distasteful, and her performance was poor as well, but she got a nominee.
Now
Fuck.
I haven't seen everywhere, everything at once,
Yeah, well,
but
it's her or Kate Blanchett, basically. It's
I
down to those two.
I heard good stuff about it, so I will go with Michelle Yao.
Yeah, again, she was amazing, but Kate Blanchett was amazing as well, and she just transformed that character perfectly. Like, it's gonna be one of those two. That's the race, basically. Everybody else is just happy to be there. I mean, yeah, Michelle Williams did a good job. Andrea
Yeah,
Riseborough did a good job.
but
Anya de Armas, you should not be here. That's like,
since I've only seen Tar and Fableman, I guess I will give it to Kate. But because
yeah,
I've heard good stuff about Michelle, maybe that's her. So it's
yeah.
either
Again,
Kate
it's one
or
of those two,
Michelle.
basically. It's Kate or Michelle. And Michelle Yeo, not Williams, but yeah.
Next
Okay,
up,
now, yeah, lead actor. So we're getting down to the last two categories now. Yes, so got Austin Butler from Elvis. Yep, Colin Farrell from Banshees. Yep, got Brendan Fraser right here, who's still the front runner to win, but Austin Butler is a dark horse to upset, and especially after, Elvis Presley's daughter recently passed away, so they got, that going on there. Yeah. Bill Nighy, yeah, in that living film, yeah, earlier, and then also, yeah, people did not expect to see that Paul Mescal guy in that After Some, but I'm happy to see it because yeah, it was a awesome film, and yeah, he deserves it. But I mean, I would give it to Brendan Fraser, but you haven't seen it yet, so I mean, out of those two, which one would you give it to?
Austin Butler, because
Yeah,
I like the movie much more, and I I just understood the movie better. And it's not Colin Farrell's fault. I think it's more likely the writer that really wanted to nail that accent and stuff, and the accent was part of my issues with the movie. So maybe if he had his normal voice, maybe I would say Colin, but I think Colin did great job despite not me understanding all the time what he was saying. Um, but I would still give it to Austin because I just liked the movie much more and I could understand everything.
fair enough. Okay, and then the last thing. So these are all the ones nominated for the top prize, and yeah, some of them I don't agree with, but honestly, overall, not too bad. It could have been a lot worse. Happy Triangle of Sadness made it in, and yeah, out of these, I would give it to Everything Everywhere. But yeah, Tar and Banshees is also amazing.
I think out of the ones I've seen, Fableman, that was my
Yeah,
favorite among the four movie we covered. Yeah, and this is also the movie I will most likely rewatch. So yeah, that's what I would give. So Very
Yep.
interesting. Everything, everywhere,
Yes.
all at once.
Damn, this has been a long stream, but yeah, that's
I
fine. But yeah,
enjoyed it a
so
lot, man.
yeah, so yeah, I figured since I was released, it would be fun to go through it all and tell people what we'll be doing because yeah, we'll be basically going through pretty much all these. We'll at the very least watch the 10 Best Picture nominated films. Women Talking hasn't been released publicly yet, so we'll have to wait a bit for that. But yeah, and then we'll also watch. I mean, others as well, like The Whale and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, we won't be watching like every single one. Like yeah, like we're not watching fucking Blonde, that piece of shit film. But yeah, and you can watch Wakanda Forever whenever you want to. I'm not
we
gonna force you to.
we will eventually watch the MCU and we will eventually cover the MCU. Just
True.
not now. I'm just not ready yet. But we will
Yeah,
go
it's
phase
fine.
by
Fine. It
phase.
wasn't nominated for Best Picture, so you don't have to watch it. It's good. But yeah, yeah. So again, I think for next week we'll probably do.
Your boss. So you pick two movies for next week, and
Yeah, again, I'll DM you on Twitter which ones it will be for next week. But yeah, we'll go through all of them eventually anyway. But
yeah,
I think the ones I'll pick are I'll get over. I'll get it over with the ones that have some subtitles. So or themes of that. So All Quiet on the Western Front, it would be the dub on Netflix. So, but yeah, we'll
yeah,
watch that and Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's again majority of it or most of it is English, but there are some subtitles here and there, also Chinese. So we'll just get that over with. So we'll not drag that out.
yeah. And we also get to cover Constantine Omni season.
Right. I
That's
am
the show.
actually,
So
even though it got shit on, I'm excited to cover it just for the actor.
I, as I said, the actor nailed the role, I think, and some aspect of the show are fine, but it's no surprise why it was canceled. I will start it by saying
Hmm.
this. But the actor nailed the role, and it's so sad that he won't get a third chance. I don't say,
Especially with Keanu. Fucking
yeah,
hell, he was
I
so much worse.
I say a third chance because the actor already got a second chance. Because after the show was cancelled, Matt Ryan reprised his role in Arrow Worst Season, and then he reprised his role in DC's Legends of Tomorrow Worst Fourth Season. um, but as I said, he is doing great job with Batman material. um, Man, anything else to add before we end off this stream?
No, that's about it. But yeah, again, so next stream will be, yeah, so it'll be Constantine TV show, I guess we'll put down.
Yeah,
It will be. I'll type it to you in the Discord TMs right here.
perfect.
Um,
Thank
yeah,
you very much, man. Yeah,
but also we will be covering the Avatar films and if Chillmonger as well, which we already saw, and if Chillmonger can't show up that day, then whatever, I guess
yeah.
I will be covering it. So I
So
guess yeah, if there's anything else missing here, let me know. But yeah,
perfect. Thank you very much, man. As usual, I had a blast. You are a great co-host, and we are having a great time. I think. Thank you very much, man. And take care of yourself, and we will speak later.